Getting some kind of weird feedback. Are you hearing that?
No, do you got some feedback?
Yeah, hang on a second. Sounds like there's like a microphone grinding in the background.
Hmm. Uh,
My internet's not looking totally strong right now. But I'm coming through okay to you, right?
yeah, you sound good to me. You want to just do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. Ho! Once again, coming to you live every time we can, every time we do it. Totally local podcast, Monmouth County, Ocean County. Those are the counties we focus on because those are the lovely Jersey Shore areas that we love and talk about. Today, with me, as always, Aaron Levine for another exciting, titillating conversation on local businesses. And the special guest today, through Aaron's advice, was me. I'm going to talk to you guys about, I don't usually talk too much about what I'm doing, what I'm about, what I'm here for. And I work with local businesses to help them with their, online presence, marketing. I don't really like the word marketing. I think it's an ugly four-letter word. And I like to use more of a word that other people don't like to use, especially in marketing, which is practical. I like to give people practical, logical steps to follow or advice just to make sure that their online presence is working for them. It's service based advertising, basically. What do you do and getting it out there? And there's a lot of different ways of handling that. Aaron, how's your day going? It's beautiful out.
Hey man, is it beautiful out? I can't tell. I'm still in the office working hard. There's lots going on in the insurance world right now, as well as my pre-K classroom that's just on the other side of that wall. But ABC Mouse is handling that piece of the puzzle right
Perfect.
now. But we're going to get outside in a little bit. But I'm happy that we're going to flip the script this week. I think everything that you do for me as your client is great. And I think it's important to so many to understand what it is that you do behind the scenes and late at night. Well, maybe not so late at night, but when you're crushing it and the kids asleep and everybody's happy in your household. So I think it's going to be great to get your perspective on everything going on right now and see how other small businesses can enhance their brand and their reputation online.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, for whatever reason it's so fun. It's like the plumber that you go to his home and he's got leaky pipes. Like, I talk a lot about other businesses, and on here especially, I just love talking to local businesses, so I really don't kind of get into all the details and the who's and the whats of what I do. But it is, I thought, honestly, in the beginning, I thought a lot of people would be slowing down or freaking out. And I would say it's been like 60-40, 70-30, where people have been more proactive. There's been certain businesses I work with. There's one business I work with, and they do events, party rentals, street fairs. And they were like, yo, we're done. Like, they had to let go their workforce. They had, nothing kind of, going on. And I said, all right, well, I'll keep, obviously I'll keep your site going. I'll keep it up there. If you want to change any of the verbiage, let me know. But if you they kind of had to just kind of shut down, and that's that was their business. So I don't know what, as far as what they could have been doing online, and what I recommended they do is work on the content on their site. Like, they have, I've said this to them. I'm like, yo, you guys rent bouncy castles. People rent bouncy castles. Like, put more content about that on your site. Seems, boring and practical, but that's kind of where I'd start. And now you have this downtime. I'm always open, and I encourage, and I definitely encourage, like, telling my clients to learn how to do, how to empower themselves to update their site and update their social media. And I always tell them, I'm like, look, I want to work myself out of a job. I want to teach you how to do it so that I don't have to do it, so you could take care of it. And
The smart ones are never going to do that because the smart ones are going to learn, but then continue to let you do what you do best so that they can do best. Right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
really what it comes down to.
It became this job, like it became such a grind because I was trying to like force people to be like, look, do it this way. And then, I mostly run, when I'm dealing with the words, the website side of it, I mostly do WordPress sites. And I had certain clients that were super proactive. Epic shouts to Alana Carvalho. She kind of just, took over her site. And I was just like, look, you want to have it on Squarespace? That's great. Like, do it. Like, I want to work with clients that need the help and have, questions. I don't I don't do my own accounting. I have an accountant. I have a bookkeeper. Like, I don't do that part of it because, that's not where my expertise lies. I feel like that's kind of the same thing with like websites and marketing. If you don't have the time to do it, and if you're busy, you shouldn't. You should have somebody else do it. Also, epic shouts to Rita, who was part of the OK7 team. She helps me with the social media. She's basically in charge of the social media. Works with me on strategy. Helps me schedule everything out. And she's actually working with Alana Carvalho now to help her with her social media. So like, I want to empower people to do it, and if they have questions, kind of be there, for when they have them.
I think the social media piece is, right now with where we stand today, I'm getting more friend requests on Facebook from people that I don't know.
Me too.
And I'm not accepting them.
Uh-huh.
There was a period of time when it was all creepy. Right now, I guess people are just reaching out again. But the social media piece is more important than, I don't want to say than ever, but almost more important than ever right now, because that's how we're connecting and that's how we're staying connected with people. And I would imagine that the viewership, the time spent on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and the like is significantly higher than it was pre-pandemic, right?
Oh man, it's so. Have you been on TikTok? Have you ticked or talked before?
I have once.
Yeah.
My daughter has a video up on TikTok. She was doing this funny dance, and we put like Guns N' Roses behind it and did these weird effects, and that's my TikTok experience. I haven't really dove in yet. I'm not a 21-year-old girl.
That's kind of like, I that's part of my job is I have to kind of, what I always tell my clients is, part of the service is I'll consult with you and I'll answer any questions. If I don't know the answer, which I should, I'll go out and find the answer. So like, it's reciprocal where if clients are learning new things, I'm not above, wanting to learn from them. And in times I'll be like, what is Snapchat? What is TikTok? I know it's like, whatever, it's for a different demographic, but I got to know about it. And man, like TikTok, I went on there and you just like 2 hours go by. It's like, what did I just do? I don't know how clients right now could actually effectively use it. And I don't know if they should. I think most times clients, like I call it futzing. Like people will futz with their website, futz with the colors, futz with the logo, futz with their social media. And I'm like, you gotta put all that stuff to the side and focus on the content, what your services are, focus there. And then all that stuff will kind of become more apparent. And as like stuff is going on right now with, everybody being home, you're definitely right. There's a lot of people that are, interacting a lot more. I'm not even talking about, the political nonsense. I'm talking about actually people at home. They're either bored or they have time to kind of focus on what you referred to the other day as a side hustle, or they're, the business parts of it that, of their main business that they don't have time usually to take care of. Now they can kind of focus on it. Right. We were talking about that side hustle post you put up on Facebook right before we started. And you got a lot of response from that.
Mostly strippers and homeschool teachers hoping to retire soon. But I thought there was good engagement. It's interesting to see what people are doing. And if you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, his big thing right now is, take your side hustle, and you have more time than ever to make your side hustle your main hustle. So I was just curious to see who's got a side hustle, who's doing what, and posting relevant content has been super important because the trolls out there right now are more fierce than ever.
Oh man.
Uh, Between the political stuff and the social distancing stuff, like the internet trolls and the Facebook trolls are just terrible.
And
So
the
posting quality, relevant content and asking meaningful questions that aren't going to bring people into a trap is a lot of fun, right? I mean,
oh man, it's so much better than like these leading like how to get 15,000 leads in 2 days, and like people are just they're fishing, they're putting it out there on Facebook, catching your attention, having you sign up for things, you're paying for like a PDF or a course. And from being a part of that, or knowing about that part of the business, it's like 90% of the 99% of the people don't do whatever you're telling them to do. And I don't know, that part of it is, that part of the whole marketing thing kind of frustrates me. A lot of the time I think people don't want to put in the time. And you mentioned Gary Vaynerchuk. He has an interesting little, or somebody put up a clip of him talking, and somebody asked him like, well, I want to make a lot of money and just sit on a beach all day. And he kind of addressed that. He was just like, in the Q&A, he was just like, look, he's like, if that's what you want to do, get into real estate, get into investing, and none of this stuff happens overnight. Like all the people you see that like you think it happens overnight, they've been doing it for years and years and years and years, like trials, successes, a lot of failures, stuff like that. So, I don't want to be when I talk to clients, I never want to be a bummer, but I'm just like, dude, it takes a lot of work,
yeah, you got to bring people down. You got to bring people back to earth.
And that's
It's
not,
important.
yeah, it's not fun. I mean, it's not, you'd rather see like, you see some Instagram influencer who's like, living out of a trailer and being able to like move around through the country and whatever they're selling. And I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in. I think a lot of the perceptions that are out there aren't the reality, and it's really easy to get lost in all the nonsense. But as far as what you've been experiencing, I mean, with your clients and stuff, people are, you're available to them, and they've been kind of reaching out to you. It's not like these people are like just like packing it in and just like going and living in a cave somewhere. Like, for the most part, people are contacting you to figure out what to do, right?
I think in March, people wanted to pack it in and move into a cave because people were a little bit scared. Things were still a lot a bit new. I think everybody's ready to get back at it. I mean, restaurants are gearing up, getting ready to open. Businesses are reaching out to say, hey, what are the protocols for me to get my employees back in the office and back to work? People are ready to stimulate their own economies. Sounded a little dirty.
I got to stimulate the economies a little bit sometimes. Yeah, I mean, the people, the clients that I worked with, some of them couldn't help it, and they had to just fold for now at least and see what happens. For even people like that, I'm like, yo, there's a lot you could be doing right now. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of things you could be doing right now to kind of prepare. People got to realize, like, yeah, this is not fun per se. This is kind of bad, obviously, and we don't know what the economy is gonna hold after it's done. But these are things that businesses have faced, since the first caveman put on like a suit and a tie. Like, this is what we've been dealing with. Like, things happen. I just got a notice that the governor is announcing openings right now. Hopefully, Ralph will give us a little update as the governor, rambles on and finally gets to the point.
Nice.
So, the businesses that I've worked with, some of them like hit the ground running. Other ones, like, I had to kind of reach out to them and be like, hey, we have your whole schedule for social media and for your website, but you have events on here. Like, these are all canceled events. We got to pull all this stuff. And if I like don't go to them and be like, yo, you got to do something, or you're going to look silly. Like, they're not thinking of that, Other businesses are doing things that they probably should have. A lot of businesses are doing things they should have done earlier, like setting up online forms for, for anything really, but for food, like online ordering, takeout, stuff like that. They started moving. A person that's not a client of mine, but definitely was on the right side of that and hustled was our friend Laura Trauma from Trauma's Trattoria. She got her, takeout, everything set up, everything ready to go. And those are the people that are like, getting ready for what's happening now, and then hopefully preparing for like, what's to come. It's not going to go back to how it was. And in some ways, I don't know, I'm a huge nerd, so I've loved websites since the beginning of websites, and they're now more important, or they're coming back to being more important. Like you were saying before, social media is huge now. Most people get their information from social media, no doubt. I was really kind of agitated when I hear people say they're like, "Oh, you don't even need a website anymore." But I understand where they're coming from. Maybe you don't need a website. I feel like you never know what the next big thing is going to be. You don't know how long Facebook is going to be. It's kind of around. It's kind of become as ubiquitous as email. But if you have that website, you control all that information. You control the narrative. You control who sees it. When you put stuff on social media, you don't have that much control. You're kind of like hoping people see it. If you're not tracking the data, seeing what people are clicking on, you don't know what's working or what's not working. When you have a website, you have one place where people could go. I mean, for example, beer, breweries, like, guys, you got to update your sites. Like, I'm trying to find beer around here. And epic shouts to Jug Handle Brewery. They handled a lot of it good. But it's super confusing because on the site you order it, you think you're going to get it like in an hour, and then you don't get it, till the next day, which was a little disappointing. But the beer was good, so that's cool. So that's kind of where if people have an idea, I kind of I kind of come in and have to help them kind of make it so that it logically makes sense, and maybe think of all the stuff on the periphery they're not even considering.
For sure, that makes total sense. Listen, I was in the camp of, yes, websites always been an important digital asset, but for leading up to where we are now, between the social and the Google My Business, that's definitely been the focus. And I think it kind of still is the focus, but now people have more time to do that research, and the website asset is, we're seeing that our numbers tick up on the website of people actually reading stuff or appearing to read, because we're not watching what their eyeballs are actually doing.
Not yet.
But we're seeing that people are actually looking at more content as they have more time to be aware of that content. So the website has come back full circle, I think, in our current situation. But I want to go back to the side hustle. What can somebody with a side hustle do to market themselves without annoying their friends and followers, right? We know who we're talking about here. We've all seen them. But
yeah, I mean,
way that people can do it nicely.
If it's any kind of MLM thing, just please don't do it. Just don't do it, please. Like, I love Beachbody as much as the next guy, but like, it's just keep that stuff. If you want to do it, great, and that's your side hustle, I love it. But just keep that stuff to like, if you're posting about it, do it very, seldom and subtly and whatever. As far as like a different kind of side hustle, like something that you're personally passionate about that you've maybe been doing as a hobby for a while, I think now is just the perfect time to just hit the ground running. The number one problem, is, like I said before, was futzing. Along with futzing is like people thinking of this skewed idea of perfection, where they think that, oh, I can't start today. I gotta do this, and just start posting stuff. Like, you don't have to have the perfect username. I mean, my business name is OK7 mainly because I don't think the name of the business should, I originally called it that because I wanted to make a website, a URL that was super short, and it didn't have any SEO involved because people were obsessed with like car wash, Tinton Falls, NJ, like .com. And I'm like, just have your business name on there or have something short. I have a client, Point Pleasant Dentistry for Children. And I'm like, obviously we can't use that. Let's not even try to SEO that. Let's just call it kidsdentistnj.com and that's it, you know? So I kind of wanted to show people to just get started. And if you get like, I was chewing some dude's ear off at your wine loft event, because, well, because I had like at least a glass of wine in me. And, he was like, oh, I'm preparing. I'm like, dude, just start doing it. You're never going to get, no matter how perfect you think your first podcast is, the first one you put out is never going to get 50,000 views no matter how long you last. You have to start doing it. As you do it, you're learning how to do it better, and you're building content at the same time. You mentioned Gary Vaynerchuk before. I always tell people, go look at his very, very, very first video. It is like super low budge. Like it's not what you see him doing today, but you have to start somewhere. And the sooner you start doing that stuff, you're going to learn, how to do it better every single time. But if you don't put it out there, if you don't put it out there in the universe, man, like no one's going to know what you're doing.
Right.
So as far as like what you should do with a side hustle, write out the main thing to do for anything you're doing, website, social media, anything, before you even get into what color scheme you should use, which, God, don't even get me started. But, write out your about page. Like, what are you about? What's your history? What do you enjoy doing? What's your business about? Then write out your services page. Like, what do you sell? What do you want people to buy? And if you write out those two things, then you can apply that to every single thing, like every other thing that you do. And please don't overthink it. Like, I come from a printing background, and I was really bad when I worked at a printing press because I would be the one to create like the plates that would go through the machine. And if I put a decimal in the wrong spot or misspell something and that plate got made, it came out, and it did happen more than once. The printing would be, you'd ruin a print, you'd ruin a plate, you'd ruin whatever paper, you'd ruin everything. With the web now and how everything is, it's in some ways disposable and so immediate that you have to you just have to push it out there like right now. Like, do it right now. If you have a side hustle and you haven't started it, start it right now.
All right.
And don't, please, another thing, PSA, I own a lot of domain names. Like, go through your if you have a GoDaddy account and you own a lot of domain names, you probably don't need all of those domain names. I had a client of mine contact me. I had to help her buy coronaparents.com, coronababiesnj.com, like a lot of corona domains. And I'm like, are you really going to use these? Like, start with your about page and your services page, and then start going crazy on the domains, basically.
I think we need to talk about that because I think I own about 80 or 90.
We need to have a support group. I went through it. These are all things that like I went through. So I try to tell people like what to do or what not to do, because I owned a ton of domains. There was a really wild, crazy night, maybe 10 years ago. I was obsessed with lunch balls. Was the idea. It was like a lunch box, but it was a lunch ball. Long story, can't get into it. It involved a lot of crazy things. But I owned like .net, .org, all of them. And like a year later, 2 years go by, I'm like, it doesn't seem like a lot at the time, but once you add up a couple of years of it, you could take that money and invest it into Google AdWords or Facebook advertising, or hiring somebody to take care of things for you just to set them up.
I mean, I do love the one we've been posting recently, the EPLI.ninja.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, that one's cool.
Own a .ninja or 2 or 10.
As long as you're using them, I got a new project. I'm working on a spin-off from Totally Local. So I have I think it's totallylocal.news. And, I just bought that domain just because I loved the, instead of using .com, you could use, something else. I think that's, I don't know. That's pretty cool. I've done that for clients. Epic shouts to Lauren Grogan. She has laurengrogan.yoga. And she was she got married, and she wanted to change her old website was centeryourhealth.net. And it didn't really cover what she was all about. And I just suggested, I'm like, she wanted her name, and I went through it. I'm like, well, you do yoga. She does a lot of other stuff. If anyone out there is having health issues, there's a form on her site that you could fill out. She has a lot of good healthy recipes on there. But we couldn't get laurengrogan.com, so I'm like, yo, what about laurengrogan.yoga? And it's not like back in the day where if people are giving you links, it's mostly through social media. So I don't think it's going to throw people off if it's epli.ninja, if it's laurengrogan.yoga. I think that you're kind of ahead of the curve, honestly, with that stuff.
Right. No, that's awesome.
Uh,
Uh, so one other thing, so our biggest asset is our brand ourselves, right? So we're talking about side hustle.
mm,
But we can also get into main hustle with respect to brand management and branding, right? So we've been focusing on, a lot on branding and then getting into some of the product stuff. What are some good ways for people to manage their brands via
man.
the web? And in 5 minutes or less, let's not spend 5 hours as we could.
I think that the most helpful thing to do is to realize that the smart people out there, they're not doing it on the fly. They're preparing at least a month ahead of time with a lot. You need to have personalized of the moment content going out there. That's true. But also, it's kind of like having a physical trainer. Like, you have to have a schedule put in place and then follow the schedule, so that you have it all set ahead of time. People always say they're going to do it themselves, and then it's the end of the month. They're scrambling. They don't have anything up, and it's kind of a pain. I think one thing to do is, obviously, what I'm talking about is having a schedule, and then the other thing is goes back to your services. A lot of what you post should be focused on your services, what you're selling, what you want people to buy in some form of fashion. If your posts are funny and lighthearted, that's great. Have a few of those in there, but try to focus a lot of the stuff around what you're actually doing or what you're actually selling, because a lot of this stuff is people are going to be going to your social media accounts and your website, and they want to know about you. They don't want to see a Twitter post from 2014. They want to see you active, and when they read that stuff, they want to know exactly what you're about. That's. Oh, sorry, I'm getting a robocall right now. So, I mean, I did that in about 5 minutes, right?
No, that was good. That was good.
Ralph Gould, Epichal's posted beaches with limited passes by Memorial Day, restaurants with limited seating on the 18th at 6 a.m., retail with curbside, construction, no venues, amusements, or visitor centers. Towns need to set those rules. So, I don't know if you saw that this morning. There was a dude from Belmar Gym that was on Fox News. Did you see that?
I saw a screenshot. I didn't see the whole thing.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it, but I mean, that was, I guess he's just going to open up and use his own discretion. I mean, that's an interesting,
So the 18th of this month, limited seating in restaurants.
that's what I'm getting from Ralph, unless it's fake news and I have to shadow ban him.
Ralph, fake news or real news? I think that's pretty awesome. I did see yesterday that the non-essential construction was definitely opening up, and the retail was opening up, but the limited seating, that's pretty awesome if it can happen by Memorial Day.
Yeah, that's great. I also wanted to comment. Somebody was asking me why I had Brian Gumbel on my social media post, and for those youngsters out there that don't know, that was like the Today Show, like some morning show, and Mr. Gumbel was just on that show. He was like, "What is the internet?" So I want to like remind people that like this stuff is like, it's still kind of new, for people that are running their businesses right now. I would imagine that a strong majority of them are, old enough to maybe, have been born at least by the time that happened, or maybe they're not. Maybe, I'm getting so old, but it's people didn't understand the internet now, and I think even today people are still asking that question, like, what is the internet? What am I supposed to be doing on here? But
I think it's great.
I think too that just another tip, please don't focus. I know a logo should be your, very important. It should be your brand, but don't, like, those are the things that if you need to bring in help, just make a decision, figure out what your logo is going to be, and then move on to the next step. Having like a little outline, a little checklist in front of you of, as far as make a about page, make a services page, make a logo, pick some colors, and then just stick with it. One thing I recommend for people is, like, if you're not willing to, throw down 500 to $2,000 to make a brand, like make a logo, have somebody design that for you. And that's really, if you want it done well, that's what it should probably, it should probably cost around $1,000 to $2,000 to have your brand done right. If you're spending less than that, as long as you're happy with it, then I'm happy with it. And if you don't want to spend that much, just go on to Google Web Fonts, pick a nice font, put your logo in a nice font, and use that for now while you figure it out. But don't let those little things kind of stop you from really getting your business, getting your side hustle, getting whatever is you want to be doing, getting that going.
That's great. I've gone through 9 iterations of my logo in the 12 years that I've been in business. Definitely spent way more than $1,000 through the years, but also have used Fiverr from time to time.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
get it done.
Yeah,
getting it quick when
getting it done is the important part. A lot of these successful people, I've been studying successful people. I've realized, if you watch, I read this book, Eat That Frog, or whatever it's called, and the dude talks about, he's like, I observe successful people. I do what they do. And a lot of successful people, they hit the ground running. They're not futzing around with, like, the size of their logo, it's not the right green. Like, they're not focusing on that stuff. And there's a reason for that. They're too busy doing what they're passionate about. They're too busy making money doing that to worry about these things. So
comes later when you have more money, more surplus to just go and spend and create a new story around it.
Yeah, exactly. There's two. I tell people too. I tell clients and anyone that's willing to listen to me ramble on for hours, which is surprisingly a lot of people. I tell them there's 2 types of ways of making a logo out there. There's Coca-Cola and Pepsi. If you look at Coca-Cola, their logo has been pretty much the exact same thing from day one. They made a cool logo and they stuck with it. Then you have Pepsi. They've changed it, they've morphed it, they've warped it all through the years, like over and over and over and over. No way is really wrong per se. And sometimes if you have a classic one, just stick with it. If you have to change it, be flexible. There was this leaked there is this leaked paper that one marketing agency, took over the Pepsi logo, rebranded it, and wrote this crazy paper. I'll have to find it and put a link of it up, because they were talking about, like, the Fibonacci spiral, and then the distance to the planets, and, like, they got into all wild things. And I mean that cost Pepsi like millions of dollars. So I don't think
Pepsi's money well.
Yeah, I don't think you really need to go that far with it. But just really, I don't know, getting started is something that I really want to pound into people's heads.
You hit the nail on the head. You said eat the frog. If anybody doesn't know how to eat a frog, just Google it, go on YouTube and watch some frog eating videos.
Yeah.
2 kinds of frog eating videos. You figure out which one we're talking about here. But
when you got started, obviously you have your business. Were you working in some capacity, like back in the day, for another insurance company, kind of learning the ropes? Like, how did you get started, and what made you take that leap to like start your own business?
Good question. I was all over the place. I still am an absolute mess when it comes to it, because my brain is always moving of, all right, where are we going? Pivot this, pivot that, change here, change there. How can we make things better? But back in the day, if we go back to 2007 is when I incorporated and figured out, all right, I'm going to do something here. I don't know what I was going to do, but I got licensed and was playing around with it. So insurance was a side hustle, that, and along with a couple of other things, because I was in graduate school. I got insurance licensed and real estate licensed at the same time. So I was flipping real estate. I enjoyed that. Then 2008 happened, said, this sucks. And it was time to pivot again. And I had the insurance thing set up. So I went to the insurance route, and, and here I am 11 years later with a staff and team of 8 and great resources backing us up.
I mean, and that's funny too. Like thinking about people doing their side hustle or getting their what they enjoy doing or their passion and kind of supplementing their income with that and letting it evolve. I have failed. I have failed at what I'm doing so many times. Like I have tried to do it. AJT graphics back in the day. I've been making websites and hip hop flyers for events and stuff since I was like in college. Always kind of circling back to this idea of what I'm doing now. And it took a long time to the point where I was just kind of like burnt out. And I was like, I don't like the people I'm working with. I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like what I'm telling people. And I honestly just kind of like just started being really, really honest with people about what I do and what I think that they should do. And as you do that over the years, I don't look at those failures in a negative light. I say, wow, that's great. I failed. Because when you fail, you learn how to not do something. So over the years, I've learned how to not do something many, many, many times. And it
Listen,
got to the point.
failing forward is an important philosophy, and at the same time, I use 2008 as a date.
Mhm.
I graduated from college 7 years before that. So I had failed at corporate America and a few other stumbling blocks along the way, but it's all failing forward because I think I'm in a good position today. I'm happy where I'm at, and looking to continue to evolve. And I have more of a way to evolve as business continues to grow. I mean, in 2002, I made more money than I made in 2008,
Mhm.
and 2009, and probably 2010 also. As things were getting rolling, but that's just how it is. And it's the side hustle evolved into the main hustle. And when my kids get old enough and can teach themselves their homeschooling, and I don't have to put them to bed, I'll start a new side hustle, or I'll learn to play the guitar. Or
There you
some,
go.
hobbies
Start
are.
busking. Sounds
do
good to me.
do something. We'll do something else.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's funny. I have these videos on old YouTube channels from over 10, 11, 12 years ago where I'm doing a vlog. I did my first podcast in 2006, and you pick up, you're not going to know everything in the beginning. So you're going to pick stuff up over the years to the point now that's kind of what it got to was like, I learned Photoshop, coding, marketing, how to print things, how to lay things out, how to lay out websites, when mobile, responsive, all that stuff, I was on top of it. The social media stuff, I'm constantly doing it. And over the years, you have all these experiences that just add up to where, now when people ask me stuff, I could just answer it from experience. I'm not necessarily always charging people by the hour. I'm charging them by the experience. You know what I mean? So if it takes me less time to do something that should be celebrated is kind of, basically what it comes down to. And along the way, I'm trying to now get to the point where there's clients. Since everything right now is immediate, I'm at a point where I just have to get these things done very, very fast because they have to get the stuff out there. They have to get the COVID information. If they started selling hand sanitizer or giving it away, they want to get the information out. You can't take a week. It can't take a month. If they want to get like an e-commerce store going, I tell them, look, if you want this done right away, here are the 2 steps you need to do, this, and then we can get it done. If you want to futz around, it's going to take longer. Who knows what's going to be happening in like a week from now? We just heard what's going to be open. Ralph updated. He said, not restaurants, the eateries along the shore towns on the boardwalks are what they're talking about. So I guess those are going to be open up. But
All right.
Don't take it from me. Go
We'll
talk
eat
to
on the boardwalk, but we can't go into a restaurant.
yeah, just we'll fact check this when I get off of here and look more into it. But I hope I'm looking at the list of stuff I wanted to touch on, and I think that. I think I got most of it. Is there anything else that I should mention?
You hit everything that I wanted to talk about. I'm glad I got to flip the script on you a little bit, get some information out there. Hopefully, push some of our viewers to get into their side hustle a little bit would be great. Even myself, just got to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Selling more insurance and just helping more people, and continue the charitable work that I do.
I think that sounds good. I want to encourage people to either reach out to myself or Aaron. If you can't tell, I love talking. So I definitely, if people, I'll usually tell people, like, if they call me or email me, I'll tell them what they should do very succinctly. Be like, do this, this, and this, and they'll be like, well, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, either you could pay me to do it, or then try it your way. But I've been doing this for a while, so here's the easiest way to get started.
Trial and error is good.
Yeah. But on that note, this has been Totally Local. As you all know, it's totallylocalpodcast.com. Totally_local_podcast is the Instagram. Find me everywhere and on everything. Check out the old episodes. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. If you're a local business and you want to get on here, I just reached out to a local psychic medium, so hopefully I can get them on there. Yeah. They said they would do complimentary readings. I'm like, I wonder if they would do it on air. But we'll see. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Aaron. LG Insurance. As always, good times.
Andrew, thanks.